20 million years ago, the Earth was a different place. Africa was an island continent, floating in isolation, separated from Eurasia by a wide stretch of water. For millions of years, it had been its own laboratory of life. Strange elephants with shovel-shaped tusks wandered its forests. Early apes swung through the trees. Rivers were filled with hippo-like giants and oversized pig-like creatures no one alive today would recognize. But across the water in Eurasia, an entirely different world thrived. Herds of three-toed horses thundered across open plains. Towering rhinos the size of houses stripped leaves from trees. Predators like saber-toothed cats and bear dogs stalked the shadows. Two worlds, two ecosystems, two separate experiments in evolution. And then, tectonic forces began to shift. The Arabian Plate pushed northward, closing the sea that separated the continents. Slowly, the water gave way to land. Valleys rose. Rivers carved through new earth. And for the first time in tens of millions of years, Africa touched Eurasia. The land bridge was born, and with it, one of the greatest wildlife migrations in history. Animals from Africa began to march north. Apes climbed into new forests in Europe and Asia. Elephant ancestors stampeded across fresh ground, spreading further than ever before. Hippo-like creatures followed rivers into distant lands. At the same time, animals from Eurasia began pouring south. Horses galloped into Africa, reshaping its grasslands. Antelopes and giraffe ancestors followed, multiplying into dozens of new forms. And predators came too, saber-toothed cats, hyenas, and bear-like hunters that rewrote the food chain. This was no gentle meeting. It was a collision of ecosystems. For some species, it was a chance to conquer new lands. For others, it was the beginning of the end. Some of Africa's old giants couldn't compete. Strange pig-like beasts disappeared. Certain primitive elephants were pushed aside by newcomers, better suited to changing climates. But others thrived. The apes that crossed north evolved into a dazzling variety of forms. The elephants spread far and wide, eventually reaching every corner of Eurasia. In Africa, the arrivals from the north reshaped the continent forever. Antelopes became the most successful group of grazers. Giraffes stretched their necks higher and higher, adapting to a new world of competition. And the predators, lions, leopards, hyenas, found Africa to be a paradise of prey. The timing could not have been more dramatic. The world's climate was cooling. Grasslands spread wider every year. Forests shrank back. Speed became survival, and grazers flourished on the open plains. The newcomers from Eurasia fit this new world perfectly, and Africa transformed into the land we recognize today. Think about it. When you see elephants on the savannah, giraffes stretching for the trees, antelopes leaping away from a lion's charge, you are watching the legacy of that ancient land bridge. Without it, Africa might have remained a continent of strange, isolated beasts. Instead, it became the stage for one of the greatest wildlife dramas on Earth. The Gomphotherium Land Bridge, as scientists call it, wasn't just a strip of rock and dirt. It was a highway of life, a corridor that carried elephants north, horses south, apes into new worlds, and predators into new battles. It was the road that shaped the Serengeti, the path that gave us giraffes and antelopes, the bridge that ensured lions would one day roar in Africa. When Africa met Eurasia, it rewrote the script of evolution. It created an animal superhighway, and the echoes of that crossing still thunder across the plains today. This is the story of how a strip of land 18 million years ago changed the future of life on Earth forever.